Good morning and congratulations to each of you as you begin this new board term as commissioners. I'd like to take this opportunity to share with you my hopes for this board. They'll be more broad in scope, but I'm hopeful to see this board demonstrate from this day forward is evidence of a shared commitment to open and respectful dialogue between commissioners at all of your meetings. What I'm hopeful also to see develop over time is a commitment on the part of all board members to learn how to function together effectively as a body, to learn how to embody a collective commitment to public service, to demonstrate what a collaborative spirit looks like, where beyond mere respect for different perspectives also lies a genuine desire to listen for opportunities to gain from each other new insights and the potential in that process to identify solutions that can only arise from the strength of shared diverse opinions. What I am hopeful not to see is the development of rival factions, of hidden agendas on the part of individual commissioners or groups of commissioners organized around a desire for power and influence within the board and beyond. What I will also do as I practice hopeful expectations for this board and its leadership potential is to continue to pay attention, to attend meetings and keep learning more about my local government and our shared community which it serves. I anticipate that at times I may decide to approach this podium in order to call you to account for decisions you make with which I disagree. But the message I hope never to need to deliver to this board is one that calls you to account for a failure to effectively function as a board. That I hope never to deliver to this board a message that calls you to account for missed opportunities to demonstrate first to county employees and also to us residents eager to see evidence of your ability to function effectively, committed to serve the needs of the community as a whole, that you are up to that job. I'm hopeful that you can deliver, because this county is in need of steady and prudent leadership on the part of its board and administration. And I trust that each of you will commit to the work ahead in good faith. Thank you for your time.
Thanks for your comments. Public comment number 6 is R.E. Nickel, Georgetown Township.
Thank you. My name is Harvey Nickel from Georgetown Township. I want to thank Gretchen Cosby, Lucy Ebel, Roger Belknap, Kendra Wenzel, Allison Miedema, Sylvia Rode, and Joe Moss for stepping up and fighting for our constitutional rights of the citizens of Ottawa County. I especially want to thank Joe Moss for the way that he led the BOC these last 2 years, removing the Marxist DEI policies, changing the motto back to where freedom bent. Mr. Moss has always been respectful and calm when the leftist activists relentlessly attacked him and the other OI commissioners with lies and vitriolic comments during the meetings and on social media. Amazingly, Mr. Moss maintained an attitude of positivity in the midst of all the negative comments and focused on the big picture of what is best for the citizens of this county in the midst of all the attacks and lawfare by the people who are trying to destroy our freedoms. Thank you for your service to the citizens of Ottawa County, and thank you for fighting for our constitutional rights. I also am looking forward to the next 4 years. Hopefully there will be a cooperation between the groups and that the people who constantly attacked the last 2 years will stand back and let the board do their work and do the best for the citizens of this county. Thank you.
Thanks for your comments. Public comment number 7, Becky Patrick, Allendale Township.
Good morning, Commissioners. Becky Patrick, Allendale. Congratulations to all of you as you begin your new terms. Many of us are looking forward to the work of this new board, and we wish you well. And we are specifically hoping that you will do a new thing as you govern us. So what might that look like? Specifically, I think it looks like far less partisanship, and here are some examples. First, I think it looks like seeking out minority viewpoints. Please do not repeat the mistakes of the previous board by attempting to disenfranchise or silence dissenting views. You will build trust, increase good governance, and make better decisions if you fearlessly and systematically include and seek out a diversity of opinions in your deliberations. And that includes Ottawa Impact views, as well as the views of those like me who hold democratic and progressive views. I'm sure you've done the math, but an average of 30 to 40% of Ottawa County residents did not vote for those of you sitting here. Listen to them, too. A new thing also looks like being wise, not naive, in your interactions with your colleagues, even if you share a political affiliation. Read what your colleagues post on social media. When your colleagues tell you or demonstrate who they are, believe them and trust them accordingly. And finally, a new thing looks like being willing to seek the counsel of those who have experience and who have consistently demonstrated good faith interactions. I'm talking, of course, about Doug Zylstra, the lone Democrat on this board. He has served through COVID and through the extreme turmoil of the last 2 years. He's worked hard and strategically to represent his district, as well as many people like me who felt they had no representation over the last 2 years. And he's done it all in a way that has garnered him the respect of many people across Ottawa County and beyond. We need you to step forward and pave this new path, because the old path of partisanship no longer serves our purposes here. We need you to exercise wisdom, vision, and courage. We need you to put the good of the county ahead of partisan considerations, and we need you to do a new thing. I wish you well as you begin your public service, and if I can help you, I'm glad to do so. Thank you for your time.
Thanks for your comments. Public comment number 8 is Dan Zimmer, Port Sheldon Township.
Good morning, Dan Zimmer, Port Sheldon Township. It is a new year and a new board. Public trust can be described as the level of confidence and belief that the general population has in the actions and decisions of a government body. This board has a responsibility to evaluate intangible assets. Items such as employee morale and public trust are not line items on a financial report, but are an X factor to any business organization. Public trust, how can it be measured? What are the metrics that indicate gain or loss of public trust? How does this board know the starting point to gauge the present level of public trust? Knowing the current level of public trust is a prerequisite metric to be able to determine the future gain or loss of the public trust. Take bold action and send out a customer satisfaction survey to the residents of Ottawa County with a standardized format for data collection purposes that pointedly inquires about public trust. This could be done online with minimal cost. Stephen Covey, chairman of Covey Leadership and Institute for Principle-Centered Leadership and author of The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, speaks to the importance of seek first to understand and then to be understood.
Thanks for your comments. Public comment number 9 is Cindy Mushrow, Spring Lake Township.
Cindy Mushrow, Spring Lake Township. I read an article recently about how all 11 incoming commissioners state that they desire to work together as a team for the good of Ottawa County. For the past 2 years, many of us have repeatedly asked Joe Moss and the other Ottawa Impact commissioners to do just that. We asked them to allow our duly elected commissioners equal representation on committees and equal opportunities to speak or add agenda items for discussion. Joe Moss refused and condescendingly gavelled dissenting commissioners into silence. Joe Moss, as team captain, did not treat my commissioner as a team member. So forgive me if this talk of desiring to work as a team feels hypocritical and self-serving. That being said, I have been working this past year to achieve good governance in Ottawa County. So working as a team is the desired goal. I do not want the revenge politics that have been routine for the past 2 years to continue. The voices of all citizens of Ottawa County should be heard and respected, even when I so disagree with the choices some voters have made. So yes, you do need to work as a team going forward, but I am begging you not to disregard or forget the damage that has been done over the last 2 years. You cannot allow the OI Line commissioners positions of power because they have demonstrated repeatedly their willingness to abuse it. There will be hard work and further cost to Ottawa County to undo the vengeful politics of the last 2 years, but for the long-term good of our county, it must be done. The first step this board should take is to fix the procedural policies that allowed this poor governance to take place. Please write policy that makes it clear that the chairman's role is an administrative one, that the chairman has no more power than any other commissioner, that any commissioner has the right to add agenda items for discussion. Make it policy that committee assignments be divided equitably. We need to ensure that the kind of dictatorship we experienced the last 2 years cannot reoccur. Ottawa County deserves better than what it was subjected to the last 2 years. We are counting on this board to do the hard work to fix it. Thank you.
Thanks for your comments. Public comment number 10 is Stacy Tenbrink, Allendale Township.
Hi. Oh. Hi, I'm Stacy Tenbrink. I'm from Allendale.
Move that mic down too if you need to.
Look, I'm only 5'1". I want to thank, did you hear, did I do it right? Okay. I wanted to thank Joe and Sylvia, our chair and vice chair, for the willingness to stand for all of Ottawa County and the people that voted them in for the change. They listened and supported our constitutional rights as parents, fighting against the system that has suppressed our voices. They have had boldness and integrity, and above all, they put God's authority first and foremost. Thank you for listening to your constituents and making the changes that were needed in our community. It hasn't gone unnoticed. We have appreciated the transparency and the budget and the evening meetings and the public comment opportunities compared to how the county was run previously. It's very important to know that the history and to pay close attention to the local government. I encourage people to continue to watch board meetings from the past and keep up with them going forward. Watch how the past administration and the corporate council controlled all of the details in the narrative. It's the exact opposite how the outgoing opposite of how the outgoing 2023-24 Board of Commissioners ran things. During the last few cycles, our elected officials did their research and voted on facts. I truly hope and pray that that stays the same way, and that we aren't controlled or hired by administrator or corporate counsel. We will continue praying for all of our commissioners in this new year for first to seek God our Father for the decisions that need to be made for our community, and to be the light of Jesus for others to see in this dark and fallen world. And may God use you all to open doors for others to accept the free gift of salvation. And please remember in Ephesians 6:12 that we're not fighting against flesh and blood, but we're fighting against evil rulers and authorities of the unseen world and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Thank you.
Thank you for the comments. We're going to do a little mic switch here. Still having some audio issues. Our apologies for that. Did I mention how much we love IT in this building? We love IT.
Okay. Can you hear me? No. Yeah, you can. Okay. All clear. Uh-huh. Yeah. Hey, better? All right. Fall Climates, Spring Lake Township. Help it out.
All right. Number 11 is Virginia Greenlee. Virginia, good luck up there.
Can you hear me now? Hello? Hello? Can you hear me now? Hopefully. We can hear Justin really well in that other room. We'll take his mic. Yes, I'm from Park Township. I want to thank everybody that stood up when we had tyrannical Governor Whitmore doing what she did with executive orders every 2 weeks. We had a group of parents that stood up and said, we can do something about this because the judge had said, you can do something about this. And they did. However, they did not anticipate lawfare on day 2. You can all look back to what happened starting from day 2. Lawfare was triggered. We know right now in our society what lawfare is doing right and left everywhere. But I want to bring you back to what the Republican platform originally was. Protecting life and cultivating the culture of life, not the culture of death. I'm sorry, abortion is not health care, it's death care. Marriage, respecting marriage is how God designed it. Every one of you are created in the image of God. And then he made us to be men and women. There's all kinds of confusion and all kinds of reasons, but God still created man and woman. He created them to be one, to glorify his son, and to be able to have a relationship with him forever. 3, transgenderism, keep men out of women's sports. Protect the women, protect the children. 4, education, teach the fundamentals. Keep indoctrination out. Kids' minds are too easily impressed. And it is unfortunate that people take advantage of that. And it's kind of like adult bullying by teachers and administrations and your OASID or whatever that is. 5, parental rights. They deserve to have the parental rights that God gave them. Who are government officials or educational officials, hospital, whatever, to take away the rights of parents over children 18 and under? Honor God. He's the one who gave us the inalienable rights of right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And protect religious freedoms. And don't be upset when people are saying, we stand for Christ. Because most of us, or many of us Christians do, and the time will come when every knee will bow to the name that's above all name, and to the one that died for us and rose from the dead that we might have an eternal life. Some people don't believe there's going to be eternal life. Fine, they can stay dead in the ground, but then they're also going to be going to the eternal destination that's underground. 8, stand with Israel. Those that stand with Israel are protected and blessed. We want to be in on the blessings. Heaven and earth will pass away, but God's word will never pass away. We need to uphold the word, and I thank all the commissioners that honored God by upholding the word. And we know this is a spiritual war, and I thank you for those that are on God's side. Amen.
Public comment number 12 is Bruce Greenlee, Park Township.
I'm going to pick up my spouse's phone that got left here on the podium. My name is Bruce Greenlee. I'm a resident of Park Township. I thank you for hearing. I heard rumors that our public comment period would be axed and maybe non-existent like it was in 2021, 22, when it got cut from many people testifying and giving public comment to only allowing a couple people in the building. Hopefully you folks will not get to that point. I appreciate the commissioners that are still serving, Mr. Moss, Allison Miedema, Kendra Wenzel, and Sylvia Rohde. I thank the service of commissioners that are no longer on the board. Gretchen Cosby, Lucy Ebel, Roger Belknap. I thank you for those of you who ran on a one of the platform pieces was good governance. I would call you to much beyond good. How about doing righteous things, standing up for righteousness? There's a lot of people that think they're doing good, and that's only in the figment in their imagination. I would call you to not keep using, like one of the commissioners sitting on this side of the room that continually hammered on the term good governance when we're not standing for righteousness. I thank you, commissioners, for doing the right thing, not being like the old guard of 2022 where there were either 11 or 12 white men who were the commissioners. At least we have 3 women on the board still. I hope that all the white men that remain on the board will do righteous things and not just good things that they think are good or their coworker thinks are good, but that, let's say, 75% or at least 70, a good majority are in agreement that they're good, like protecting children, not mandating masks and vaccine and adherence to other things that the previous board did. Thank you.
Thank you. And those are all of the registered public comments that we have. Thanks to everyone who took the time this morning from your day to share your thoughts in public this morning with the board. The next part of our agenda, and there will be a second opportunity, by the way, for public comment toward the end of this meeting as well. The next part of the agenda is a celebration, and that is the time where I get to the privilege and the honor of administering the oath of office to each and every one of our commissioners, those returning and those who are new to the board. It's my privilege to do that. And so how we'll structure this, we're actually all going to stand together. I'm going to approach the podium, and we'll do this oath in unison. As I administer the oath, I will read it to you, and then you can answer, hopefully, in the affirmative. If not, then we'll have the sheriff's deputy escort you elsewhere. But we will give just a moment too, if any of your family would like to join you where you're standing at the dais. We'd love to have anybody who you would like to join you, and we'll just give you a moment, and we'll resume very shortly here. Kind of come through here if we can fit. Sorry. Good. Sorry, yeah, there's one. Hey, how are you? It's one little tiny funnel here. Sorry about that, guys. I'm glad she could be. You're good. we have everybody? What a cool representation, by the way, of what this board really looks like, right? We all know how much time and energy and sacrifice is given from our friends and our family. So thank you all for being here this morning, for joining us, and for all that you do as well. If you commissioners would raise your right hand for me. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of this state, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of the offices to which you were elected as commissioners in and for the County of Ottawa and State of Michigan, according to the best of your ability? That's right, I do. Awesome. Congratulations and thank you. Plenty of time too, if you would like a photo op right after the meeting in front of the seal or anywhere else, happy to make sure that you have those opportunities together. So thank you guys for coming out and joining us. Thank you, everybody. So each of you do have an oath of office at your desk, and if you wouldn't mind just signing that when you get the chance, and we will collect those at the end of the meeting, and we will file them. All right, now we're going to do a little bit of an exercise in Robert's Rules of Order. For those of you who haven't played this game, it's kind of fun sometimes. First on our agenda is the election of a temporary chairperson who will then preside over the election of the board chairperson. So in just a few moments here, I will hang out my illustrious career of chairing this meeting and turn it over first to the temporary chairperson, and then that temporary chairperson will then preside over our election of the chair. The chair will then preside over the election of the vice chair. So how we're going to do this is I'm going to open the floor for nominations for the election of a temporary chairperson. Do we have any nominations? Commissioner Berry.
I nominate Phil Kyers as temporary chair.
We have a nomination for Commissioner Phil Kyers. Are there any other nominations? Any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Hearing no other nominations, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And all those opposed. And that motion carries. Congratulations, Commissioner Kyers.
Thank you, Mr. Rubel. This time we take nominations for chair. Is there nominations for chair?
I nominate Commissioner Teeples as chair.
Is there any other nominations? Is there any other nominations? Yes.
I nominate Joe Moss for chair.
Is there any other nominations? Is there any other nominations? Is there any other nominations? Mr. Rupp, please call the roll.
Yes, sir. And so how we'll do this, we'll just run through the roll here, and if each commissioner can just state the name of the commissioner that you're voting for as chair.
I'd like to have some discussion on this first.
Sure.
Thank you. I guess my fellow board members, I just ask for you to fully hear me out before you take a vote today. I don't think that what the people of Ottawa County wanted in 2022 has changed all that much. The people of this county voted for the Trump administration both in 2020 and again in 2024. Trump was endlessly defamed and relentlessly attacked and had a great historical political comeback this November. I believe Ottawa County sits in a similar position but time-wise is somewhere between Trump's first inauguration and his second. Let me explain. Joe and Sylvia began a movement of the people to restore our constitutional freedoms and our God-given rights. They uncovered what had been brought into our county: the disregard for our constitutional freedoms, pro-abortion resources being quietly shared, the un-American DEI department, and an attack on childhood innocence. This led to 8 new commissioners being voted in 2022 and taking our seats in 2023. I'm grateful to have been one of them. Then the 23 to 24 board received by and large what I call the Trump treatment. Hundreds of articles were written with headlines and material that were a far cry from the facts. Commissioners were misquoted, mischaracterized, and relentlessly attacked, even by some fellow board members. Yet this was not truly an attack on us, but an attack on the people. At the same time this was happening, the daily in-your-face constitutional battles were lessening as it related to COVID and our children. And what has history shown us when things are going well in our own lives? We often quickly forget and simply continue being with our families, going to work, spending time with family and friends. This is not all bad. However, I do believe that once some of the dangers were not right in the faces of everyone on a daily basis, such as the masking of our children, the one-way arrows in our grocery stores, the inability to purchase seeds for our gardens, etc., many were not aware of other issues that were still happening here locally. In fact, I've met many individuals that aren't aware of work that happens at a county level. So why do I share this? I believe this played out in the primary election season. The outcome of who was voted in and who wasn't can't be pinpointed on only one thing. There was the ongoing barrage of the media, as well as the vast array of talents represented right here at this board level, campaign finances, an open primary, the normalization after COVID, which caused many to no longer pay attention or dig deeper, and as a result, many not showing up to the primary election, as well as 2 commissioners that chose not to seek another term. And I'm sure you could fill in probably a couple more things that I haven't listed. I've heard from many of you that you truly want to serve the people well. We have been given an opportunity to come together on behalf of our community, and each of us were voted into office by the people. And I believe each one of you have also been here placed by God. As I've been thinking through each of you that I will have the privilege of serving alongside, I personally think there could be great wisdom in selecting 2 people to serve as chair and vice chair that might bring about some unity that focuses on the good work of the county, the Constitution, and our Republican principles. Additionally, these 2 people should demonstrate humbleness and be committed to truth and facts in their leadership roles. I believe that both Commissioners Moss and Rohde have led the county very well. I also recognize that a large majority of this new board may want to have new leaders. I ask that you think about the people, what history has shown us, and consider voting for Commissioner Moss as either the chair or vice chair, alongside of potentially one of the 5 new commissioners. I, alongside others in the community, have appreciated Joe's boldness, integrity, hard work ethic, supporting our constitutional rights as parents fighting against the system that suppressed our voices, godly leadership and governance, following the rule of law, calm demeanor, respect for all, his positive outlook, standing on truth and facts, noticing the hard work of many at the county, and continuing to remember that we are here to serve and protect the rights of all the citizens of Ottawa County, including the rights of children. In the face of constant criticism, mostly from the left, and barrage from the press, like President Trump, Joe and Sylvia have had the backbone that was needed, the resolve, and were consistent with the America First constitutional mindset during their past 2 years of leadership. So again, I just ask that this board would greatly consider voting for Joe for either the chair or the vice chair position. Thanks for listening to my comments.
Thank you. Is there any other comments?
Thanks, Mr. Chairman.
I appreciate the service and dedication of Commissioners Moss and Rhodey over the last 2 years. But I do believe that it is time for a balance change in Ottawa County, and I think, public commenters have expressed that. The time that I've got to know Mr. Peoples, I think he'll provide that, so I'll be voting for Mr. Peoples.
Any other comments?
Thank you, Commissioner Kyers. I just wanted to say that what I value in a chair is somebody that's dedicated to the process of running a good meeting, that's going to focus on making sure that the business of the county is fully executed in a timely and efficient way. That's there to be the chief moderator of the entire board, to serve the entire board, to communicate with the entire board. These are really valuable aspects and qualities of a top-performing chair. We need a chair that is used to running meetings that way. In my experience of working with Mr. Teeples, he has that executive level experience of making sure that he is not overbearing on a board, and that he works to make sure even the minority voices are heard, even when it's you, Mr. Moss. He will make sure that your voice is heard as well. So this is an important quality for us to go forward. I think we need to make sure that we vote for somebody that will work to bring the entire board together, and to make sure that we run this board for the benefit of the people of Ottawa County, all of them. Thank you.
Any other comments? Good.
Thank you. I think that it's very important that we run this county and this board in a way that operates based on truth, not on media narratives and lies, not with propaganda and intimidation tactics. I've been very disappointed in the words and the discernment that was used by too many up here during campaigns, which were not based on truth. Or did they demonstrate discernment? So I would just like to say a few things about Joe, because I think so much is said that is just so wrong about Joe Moss. While Joe and Ottawa Impact have been repeatedly and wrongly defamed by local and national media as extreme, far-right, fundamentalist, Christian nationalist, and on and on and on ad nauseum, Joe is a dad, business owner, and everyday American who decided to stand up for his kids and his community at great personal sacrifice. He has endured endless persecution with a smile which he is even criticized for, while working endless hours to right the ship of county government. Change is hard, and it hasn't been easy. And we will likely see the same when President Trump likewise rights the ship on the national level this year. I think we might, in a month or so, even say, be able to say President Trump Ottawa impacted America. The swamp doesn't like Joe or a people's movement like Ottawa Impact. They're threatened by both, much as they are threatened by President Trump. And they locked arms with Democrats to destroy Joe and Ottawa Impact. Democrats and weak Republicans worked together in the August Republican primary to remove courageous Americans like Commissioner Cosby and Commissioner Belknap from the Ottawa County Board of Commissioners. But in November, Americans in Ottawa County and nationwide sent a resounding message with the election of President Trump that they are finished with government leaders stomping on basic realities, freedoms, and American values. So the next 4 years under President Trump presents an incredible opportunity to invest and build in a future that our grandkids will inherit. Joe desires to continue to promote strong pro-family policy for our next generation by promoting truth in the public square. And I think that we all have a great opportunity to come behind President Trump and support his agenda, and I hope that we will do that. But today I will be voting for Joe Moss for chair because I think he has demonstrated strong backbone and great resolve to do what's right for Ottawa County.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I just have a question. We've had 2 nominations, and I'm wondering if either Commissioner Teeples or Commissioner Moss would want to share why they would consider having their name voted on for chair and how they would hope to lead in the chair role.
Well, I'm sure they would.
Yes, so thank you for the nomination. It's gladly accepted. I've really enjoyed serving the people of Ottawa County and serving on the board. I'm very thankful for the opportunity to serve as chair over the last 2 years. We have gone from a place where, far left agendas like DEI were promoted in Ottawa County to a new normal that's pro-Constitution and pro-basic realities, as Commissioner Rhodey alluded to. I'm very thankful for the work of the board over the last couple of years and the foundation that's been laid for this board so we can continue to move forward and serve the people based on facts and truth. I believe that we are policymakers in these seats. Our worldview matters. I have been very clear about my worldview, and that truth comes from Scripture, from God, that I have a Christian worldview. It's not a far-right worldview, although it may be right so far. And I'm willing to say things that others won't. So I'm willing to say that a boy is a boy and a girl is a girl. I'm willing to say that our votes and our actions here are critical for leading Ottawa County based on truth. And I would be very happy to continue to serve as chair. And I guess I would echo Commissioner Miedema's sentiments that moving forward, having a board member, especially a conservative board member from the prior board, serving in leadership with a new board member would be a very good way to go. Thank you.
I didn't seek the chairman position, and I very much appreciate, though, the opportunity to serve. My perspective on service is that it should not be based on political affiliations or perspectives, but it's based on we are representative of people as a whole. And so my style of management, my style of service in my profession throughout my career has been to listen well, to be a good listener, to appreciate perspectives, and figure out a way to make decisions. I mediated for the court for a long time and settled every single case that was ever sent to me. And when that happens, that's because cases come to you because people are fighting. You've got to figure out a way for them to solve their problems. A mediator is one that helps them solve their own problem. That's my mindset. My mindset is to problem solve and to unite people around their decisions of themselves to decide what they want to do. So my leadership style is not authoritative. My leadership style, my nature, my personality is one of collaboration. But I'm not afraid of making hard decisions. And my clients respected that very much because I called many clients out on behaviors or decisions to make sure they're well aware of the risk or rewards of whatever they're going to decide to do. So it's with that spirit that I come to the service of this community, and I'm willing to serve as chairman.
Thank you. Any other questions or discussions? Please call the roll.
Mr. Hires.
John Peoples.
Mr. Moss.
Moss.
Mr. Berry.
Commissioner Keeples.
Mr. Bonema.
John Teeples.
Mrs. Rhodey.
Joe Moss.
Mr. Zylstra.
Commissioner Keeples.
Mrs. Wenzel.
Joe Moss.
Mrs. Miedema.
Joe Moss.
Mr. Joritsma.
John Teeples.
Mr. Bruger.
Commissioner John Teeples.
And Mr. Teeples.
Keeples.
And Mr. Teeples has the requisite number of votes and is elected chair.
Thank you very much. There actually is a gavel up here. Joe, did you ever use this? Yeah, so you're gonna have to help me out. I've never used one of these, but it's here. Thank you, commissioners, for trusting me with this great responsibility. As I just said, I did not seek to serve as chairman of this commission. However, in all humility, I will do so to the best of my abilities. I'd like to make a few comments this morning, beginning with how I see the duties, limitations, and responsibilities of the board chair. The chairman should be a servant leader whose priority must be to act in the best interest of the greater Ottawa County community. The chairman position should never be perceived to be a position of unbridled power. Toward that end, I will soon be asking this board to amend its rules to set term limits for the chairman position so that no one serving in that position ever becomes too authoritative. In that regard, the chairman should never speak or act in any way which binds or exposes the county to any agreement, obligation, or liability without the express authorization of the board. And no one, whether employee, vendor, member of the public, or otherwise, should assume that that individual, having the title of chairman, has the authority to bind the county to anything unless that authority is verified by board action. In fact, state law and the rules of the Ottawa County Board of Commissioners are very clear that no individual member, including board chairman, may act outside the scope of the board's express authority regarding county matters. Instead, while the chairman has certain legally prescribed duties, his or her primary responsibilities are to help to set the board's agenda, preside over board meetings, and to facilitate the board's agenda through its elected members. Otherwise, the board chairman is just one of 11 duly elected commissioners who are all equally public servants. As for me serving as chairman, my hope and my prayer is that I will personify what a genuine servant leader looks like. I will seek understanding and openness. I will always strive to exercise good judgment, and I will seek wisdom on behalf of and for all of Ottawa County. I'd now like to address specifically the employees of Ottawa County. On behalf of the community of Ottawa County, thank you so much for your steadfastness and dedication to Ottawa County. And thank you for not resigning from county employment. We can only imagine how difficult not doing so must have been. However, without you, the administration of our Ottawa County government, including for our first-class parks, infrastructures, and vital social services, would not exist or function. I am sorry for what many of you had to endure over the last 2 years. Fortunately, however, the people of Ottawa County have spoken, and we all have your backs. Today we begin anew. You can now reset your countdown time clocks. We have a lot to do together to restore the reputation of Ottawa County government. Surely we will have challenges and bumps in the road ahead, but your fortitude, loyalty, determination, and personal sacrifice have been proven time and time again in the face of difficult and sometimes unnecessary and unfair trials. So as a community, our trust and confidence in you and because of you remains on solid footing and is greatly appreciated. Let us together, beginning today, take a deep breath, exhale, and enjoy ourselves again as colleagues on a shared mission full of hope for what can and should be again for our community. Dream big in your work endeavors and initiatives. Be creative and vocal in what you see where magic can be done to make our government operate more efficiently. And stand tall with pride knowing what you have done for the greater good of Ottawa County. Indeed, we do have your backs. But more importantly, we hope you know that you also have our deepest respect and gratitude. My fellow commissioners and members of the community that are here today, and those that are watching online, would you please stand with me and express our heartfelt thankfulness to the employees of Ottawa County, our servants. I would now like to address the public at large. Thank you for your trust in us. We are here as your elected servants. Please be patient with us in the coming weeks and months. We know we have lots to do to regain your trust. We take that responsibility very seriously. This board will make decisions based on common sense, fiscal responsibility, and we will take action for the common good. We will remain steadfast, embracing our duty to help those in our community who are most vulnerable. No longer will decisions be made based on ideologies, political motives, or perceived favoritism. This board will take steps to build a short and long-term strategic plan, an initiative that did not happen with the prior board, but which I believe will have strong board support. Through this process, it is my hope and expectation that the decisions we make, especially regarding spending of taxpayer dollars, will be guided and made based on predetermined and carefully considered strategic goals, rather than made for short-sighted or impulsive reasons. The decisions we make before then will be for preparing for the days ahead, including setting the stage for that strategic planning process. This is not to say that we will always make the right decision. Some may be displeased with the actions we take. But the right thing to do is to openly, collaboratively, and transparently do the heavy lifting that a strategic planning process requires us to do. And in doing so, we hope we will earn and honor your trust as public servants striving to govern with goodwill, prudence, and on principle. When Abraham Lincoln was first inaugurated president in 1861, he said, "The legitimate object of government is to do for a community of people whatever they need to have done but cannot do at all, or cannot so well do for themselves in their separate and individual capacities. In all that the people can do individually as well for themselves," he said, "government ought not to interfere." It is my hope and expectation that this Board of Commissioners will serve with that same philosophy of the purpose of government. As for you, this wonderful community of Ottawa County, I ask you to please keep us in your prayers. And let us remember that we are a people who have always worked hard and for the greater good of each other. We have always aspired for, and we will once again commit ourselves to creating a community where all belong. Lastly, I'd like to address my fellow commissioners on this board. You are being handed a gift from me with my personal message. Please do not open it until I give you the word.
Should have alphabetized these before I went. I feel like Santa Claus.
Couldn't leave you out, Justin. In 1986, Robert Fulghum wrote a New York Times best-selling book entitled All I Really Need to Know I Learned in Kindergarten. I'd like to read a short excerpt from that book. All I really need to know about how to live and what to do and how to be, I learned in kindergarten. Wisdom was not at the top of the graduate school mountain, but there in the sand pile at Sunday school. These are the things I learned. Share everything. Play fair. Don't hit people. Put things back where you found them. Clean up your own mess. Don't take things that aren't yours. Say you're sorry when you hurt somebody. Wash your hands before you eat. Flush. Warm cookies and cold milk are good for you. Live a balanced life. Learn some and think some, and draw and paint and sing and dance and play and work every day. Some. Take a nap every afternoon. When you go out into the world, watch out for traffic. Hold hands. Stick together. Be aware of wonder. Remember the little seed in the styrofoam cup? The roots go down and the plant goes up. And nobody really knows how or why, but we're all like that. Goldfish and hamsters and white mice and even the little seed in the styrofoam cup. They all die. So do we. And then remember the Dick and Jane books? And the first word you learned, the biggest word of all? Look. Everything you need to know is in there somewhere. The golden rule, and love, and basic sanitation. Ecology and politics, and equality and sane living. Take any one of those items and extrapolate it into sophisticated adult terms and apply it to your family life or your work or your government or your world, and it holds true and clear and firm. Think what a better world it would be if we all, the whole world, had cookies and milk about 3 o'clock every afternoon, and then lay down on our blankets for a nap. Or if all government had as a basic policy to always put things back where they found them and to clean up their own mess. And it is still true. No matter how old you are, when you go into the world, it is best to hold hands and stick together. Dear colleagues, we all do not have to agree on all issues. We don't even have to like each other. But the community has a legitimate right to expect us to get along and work together for the betterment of our community. The community expects us, and we personally owe it to each other, to never throw sand at each other or be disrespectful, however much we disagree with each other. The community expects us to be civil and to not call each other names, including on our Facebook pages and social media posts, or through our online surrogates and bloggers. Instead, let us be role models of civility to show our community how individuals and community leaders of different views and perspectives can play and work together nicely, as we once did in kindergarten. Finally, as we all know, Abraham Lincoln faced unprecedented challenges as president to heal and restore the deep divide which existed between neighbors and within families, and who sought to unite our nation against its internal threats. Yet despite all that, he still had the humility and the wisdom to say, "We are not enemies, but friends. Though passions may have strained, it must not break our bonds of affection, for we are a people of kindness, of goodwill towards neighbors and strangers alike, and will be forevermore." So, my dear fellow commissioners, let's not get too caught up in ourselves or in our own self-righteousness, but let us stay attuned in service to the greater needs of Ottawa County. I look forward to working with each one of you. May God bless us. So as my official act as chairman, I request nominations for the vice chair.
I would like to.
Jacob.
It's my pleasure and honor to nominate Commissioner Gruber to be the vice chair.
Anyone else?
I nominate Joe Moss for vice chair.
Anyone else? Anyone want to make any comments, questions?
I'd like to make a comment. I'd like to talk just a little bit about Mr. Gruber as I've gotten to know him. I was thinking about what I wanted to say, and it's because we were just talking a little bit earlier, and I always think about somebody as what do you know about them? And the first thing I have to say, this man loves his family. That speaks a lot to me. His wife is in the front row. His strong young men's sons are in the front row. This is a great family man that values family and will value your families. This is a man that loves public service. He has a long track record of competent public service. That also is important to me. Just a couple highlights. He served on the Grand Haven Zoning Board. He's been a planning commissioner. He was elected into office as a city council member in Grand Haven. He served, not only does he have deep municipal competence, but also nonprofit governance experience, including being the executive director of Habitat for Humanity, including being the chairman of the Salvation Army Board of Directors. He's not a stranger to municipal government, either locally in Grand Haven or even Ottawa County. The people in this building know Mr. Gruber very well, and they trust him. He served as the chairman for Ottawa County's Brownfield Redevelopment Authority, and also the chairman for the Ottawa County Economic Development Corporation, two very important committees to serve on and gain experience from. The role of a vice chair is to fill in for the chair if the chair is not able to be present. And I found Mr. Gruber's deep competence in leading other boards to be very valuable in that position. I think he's an excellent communicator. Even when we've discussed some topics that we needed to get on the same page and had some disagreement as we worked through it, he's got an infectious sense of humor that helps you find common ground and a way that we can work together where we're all on the same page to move forward together still, not fractured. That is very important. That's a skill set that not everyone possesses, but I believe you do, Mr. Gruber. So I am very honored to serve with you over the next 4 years. I think you'll be a fantastic vice chair, and I look forward to working with you in lots of different areas to benefit the entire county, because they're all taxpayers, and they all expect us to work hard for them, and I believe you'll help get the most out of us to do that. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Mr. Clerk.
Yes, sir. Mr. Berry.
Commissioner Bruger.
Mr. Ruger.
Commissioner Bruger.
Mr. Zylstra.
Commissioner Berger.
Mr. Bonema.
Commissioner Bruger.
Mrs. Wenzel.
Commissioner Moss.
Mrs. Miedema.
Commissioner Moss.
Mr. Moss.
Moss.
Mr. Jortsma.
Commissioner Bruger.
Mr. Kyers.
Commissioner Bruger.
Mrs. Rhodey.
Commissioner Moss.
And Mr. Teeples.
Commissioner Bruger.
And Commissioner Bruger has the requisite number of votes, is elected vice chair.
Mr. Vice Chair, would you like to make any comments?
Okay, so is this the part where I say something? Jacob, I hope to live up to everything you said about me. That was humbling. Thank you. And thank you for all your support, everyone on this board. I don't do written speeches well. I get lost when I start to read something. My brain works a little faster than my mouth does, or it's the other way around, I'm not sure. But with that, I didn't prepare anything. I thought I'd go with the moment and see where it led. Something John said in reading from the book about everything I needed to know, I learned in kindergarten, struck me. And it wasn't flushing the toilet. Although that is important. It was the part about apologizing. Everybody needs an apology every now and again. So I thought, it's time. So to Joe and Allison, Sylvia and Kendra, and everyone that you represent who went through COVID with the viewpoint that you did, where from your perspective your rights were trampled on and your children's rights. I want to apologize. I'm sorry you went through that. For those like Phil and Doug, who served on this commission before the last 2 years, who got a lot of dirt thrown on them because of the decisions they had to make in very difficult circumstances, who I believe did the very best they could with the information that they had at the time. I want to apologize to you both for all that you've been through, and for everyone that you represent who feels that same way. And for Jim, Jordan, Jacob, John, and I suppose myself, for all those people who, for the last 2 years, this has been difficult. And understand that the Ottawa Impact commissioners that are here, they did the best they could with the information that they had. But I want to apologize to everyone else who has been through this last 2 years and who has experienced COVID in a myriad of different fashions and forms, whose rights have been protected, whose rights have been trampled on. It has been a difficult 3 years, and I am sorry that everyone had to go through that. So with an apology, we can then take the next step, which is to move on and to start to heal. And there's a lot of healing that needs to be done in this room, on this board, in this county, and in our nation. And I'm not about division, I'm about bringing people together, and I think that many people are up here, at least we've all said as much. So I did have one thing I want to read, find inspiration from others. This is from a book called What Unites Us, written by Dan Rather, CBS reporter who's got a storied history of traveling around the world, of interviewing leaders, presidents. And this he wrote, it's in a chapter called Night Flights, and he was flying over Washington, D.C. when he wrote this. We hear often of America's destiny. All around Washington, we see marble temples and monuments to our democracy. They look solid and seem so rooted in history that we imagine them permanent features on the landscape. Never mind that those buildings, when compared to the lifespan of other nations, are but new construction. They were built to infuse a sense of awe and purpose in the populace of an improbable country. They are only as they are only as permanent, however, as our ideals. And if we lose a sense of humility, we risk losing everything. The true foundation for those buildings are not brick and stone, but they are our Constitution, our rule of law, our traditions, our work ethic, our empathy, our pragmatism, and our basic decency. When we cultivate these instincts, we soar. When we sow divisions of hatred and small-mindedness, we all falter. America at its best, and Ottawa County at its best, is a wonderful, diverse, and spirited chorus. When we sing together, our message is amplified, and it can shake the heavens. My hope for us in this next year and these next 4 years is that our message coming out of Ottawa County will be amplified, that it will shake the heavens and that it will shake the nation. Thank you.
All right. I'm going to administer the oath to you two gentlemen as chair and vice chair, and I think we're going to do it right up here. All right, beginning with you, Mr. Chair. This is a roll off, I think, so maybe we'll see him here. Sorry. Yeah, how about right here? All right, raise your right hand for me. So do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the state, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of chairperson of the Ottawa County Board of Commissioners in and for the County of Ottawa and the state of Michigan, according to the best of your ability? I do. Congratulations. Thank you. All right. I'll give that to you, Mr. Vice Chair. Raise your right hand for me. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of this state, and you will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Vice Chairperson of the Ottawa County Board of Commissioners in and for the County of Ottawa and State of Michigan, according to the best of your ability? Absolutely, I do. Congratulations. Thank you, sir. This.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
There you go.
Look at that. Okay, so, this first meeting is, a celebration, but it also deals with organization of the board, and we have a lot of organizational issues to talk about. So we need a motion. We'd like to set up a meeting for January 7th, next week, to go through other administrative matters that we need to deal with as a board. So I'd like a motion that we would meet next week, on January 7th.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any comments, any problems with that? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Good deal. Thank you, passed. How about that? Right there, we did. Okay, so now it's time for the second public comment period. So if anyone would like to address the board, please come forward. Maybe one at a time. Anybody? Looks like we're, oh, there we go.
Hello, I am Caden Bruger, son of District 10 Commissioner Josh Bruger. And he doesn't know I'm doing this, and like him, I'm not very good at written speeches either, so we're just going to wing it. So a lot of you know the politician Josh Berger, but not a lot of you know the person that Josh Berger really is. And who doesn't know Josh Berger more than his own son? So when I think of my dad, the main quality that stands out for me is that he is a people person. And when I mean people person, I mean that he will strike up a conversation with anyone, anywhere, at any time. Whenever we go to Meyer, he's just talking away. We are all in the car and we're like, where's Dad? And he's just like, well, he's talking again. So, and then another point that stands out to me, another point that stands out to me is when we were on a family vacation, we're coming back on an airplane, my brother and I, we did a little competition. We're like, hey, let's see how long it takes for Dad to start talking to someone. And I kid you not, the second the wheel hits the runway, strikes up the conversation with someone. And it doesn't matter who you are, what your background is, or what side of politics you're on. He's willing to talk to you, and most importantly, he's willing to listen to you. And I feel like that's what people really need right now, is someone to listen. So Dad, I'm going to put more on your plate here, but if you feel like you need your voice to be heard, go to him. He's willing to talk, and he is willing to listen. So with that being said, Dad, I'm proud of you, and good luck. You got this.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Christy Mopplink from Zeeland Township. I was going to speak beforehand, but my number didn't get picked up out of the box, so I'm still going to share my comments. Here we are at another changing of the guard. As it was widely rumored, Commissioner Teeples has been selected to be the new board chair. Commissioner Teeples, you present yourself as a respectful and conservative Republican who is experienced and is fiscally responsible. There were many daggers thrown out in your opening comments, in spite of your words calling for unity. We shall watch and see in the months ahead, and I encourage the citizens of Ottawa County to hold the new board accountable, as has been done in the past 2 years. In the past, the board had a history of advancing a progressive agenda in our county, and has also had some wild cards who have a history of drama and a poor voting record. The COVID-19 pandemic had an effect on Michigan's most conservative county, a realization among local parents and entrepreneurs of the importance of local control of government to protect freedoms and parental rights. Prior to that time, no one was paying attention. Democrat activists and the media were silent because the Ottawa County Commissioners were quietly falling prey to liberal agendas, and they didn't need to take action because they were getting exactly what they wanted. Commissioner Kyers was on the board from 2000 through 2022 and is now back. Under his watch, Al Vandenberg was appointed as the administrator. Together, they implemented the Marxist DEI agenda in Ottawa County, an agenda that was stopped in Ottawa County 2 years ago after a change in the board members, and is now finally being abolished by many large national corporations as well. Many taxpayer dollars were wasted on a department of 2 people who had no measurable outcomes. They also help provide or promote comprehensive sexual education for children and to schools in the county that didn't reflect the values of the community. Interestingly, Vandenberg left after the 1,000-parent meeting. Was that because he knew the progressive momentum was fading and he needed to get out before being exposed? Commissioner Bonema has been on the board since 2023. In spite of his proclaimed conservative values, he has repeatedly voted negatively on items that were presented for the well-being of children and veterans. He actively promotes destructive narratives to the media. One could argue Kyers and Bonema, even though being proclaimed Republicans, have greatly advanced the liberal agenda in Ottawa County in the past. Their actions, comments, and voting records have demonstrated this. There have been complaints about the lack of response from the prior board chair, but he always encouraged and provided ample time for public comment, and he allowed dissenting voices on his official social media accounts, unlike others who have no social media presence or those who block dissenting voices on their official pages, especially after calling them angry moms. Will the new leaders truly be available to the citizens or just the voices they want to hear? Will you lead with the values you ran on? Will you truly work to unite this county? The opening speech from the chair was anything but unifying. Commissioners, as you move forward, please consider the past. When the next lockdown comes, will you protect our freedoms? You need to continue to uphold conservatism, which is the vote that landed you in your seats and is the county bedrock. Please lead with integrity and protect the rights of all citizens, especially children and veterans. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Aaron Jacob Hagner, Jamestown Township, Precinct 1. I just wanted to make a few comments on the some of them speeches there. Allison, fantastic. That was amazing. Thank you so much. So true. Mr. T-Poles, that was quite a speech for not being prepared to be put in the chair position. And Mr. Bruger, boy, did you kiss the rings there, eh? That's really all I had. Thank you so much. God bless you all.
Thank you. Anyone else?
What a day.
Sir, if you could please state your name and your jurisdiction for the record.
Thank you. Randy Bice, Georgetown Township. Mr. Clerk, thank you for holding our county well for the last 2 years. You had a difficult job. Thank you. I say that on behalf of progressives and conservatives alike, for people who have lived in this county all their life, or maybe they lived here 2 days. You are appreciated. Mr. Bruger, wow. I'm sort of shaken here because your son, I have a 22-year-old son, he's my middle. He's a senior at Kalamazoo College. Brilliant young man. If he would ever stand up like that, I think he may for me, but wow. You've done well, you and your wife, and I know it's God's grace, but still. I felt a lot of wisdom in this room today, and I don't think I'm speaking for just myself. To the new commissioners, I don't know many of you. For some of you who are returning, I know some of you. Please lead well. Lead with integrity. Lead with transparency. My politics are different than many of yours, but I just ask that you lead with those 2 things. Honesty, integrity, which I think are the same thing, and transparency. May you have a great year ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Harvey Nickel, Georgetown Township. I want to thank you for the comments, Mr. Teefels and Mr. Bruger. Looking forward to 4 years where there will be actions that will be the best for the county, for the citizens of the county. I'm here to somewhat apologize for my life of ignorance. I thought for the most of my life that the government was working for our best interest until 2020. I'm a PhD biochemist, I'm retired. And when COVID came out, it was about 2 weeks. My wife and I were actually working to produce masks and stuff until I found out that COVID was created. If you don't believe me, look up the furin cleavage site. It was inserted into the spike protein, which makes it infect humans. I also realized that a 40 micron pore mask will not stop a 1 micron virus. But yet, we shut down the world. We had this COVID, there were cures. Ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, budesonide, and all of those were prevented from being given to the public. Now, why did I wake up? Because I saw what was happening. That's why things changed once we had the election. The group of Ottawa Impact tried to change things, but they had so much resistance. And we got involved as citizens because masks did not work, but yet we were required to wear masks to go out in public. They shut down the schools. Kids were not really affected by COVID. However, now, with all the vaccines, the kids are being affected by the vaccines. And I read something that I thought was very interesting because it said, they told the unvaccinated to get, they told the unvaccinated to get the shot because it worked. Then they told the vaccinated to get a booster because it didn't work. Then they claimed the unvaccinated were endangering the vaccinated by not getting the shot that failed to protect the vaccinated. The circus was never about health. It was always about depopulation and control. Mr. Berger, you had some great comments of apologies, to apologize. The information that we all received led us to make decisions that were sometimes not the best. I urge you to find the right information. Don't just believe the main media that's sending it to you, because we made a lot of mistakes in COVID. Let's grow this county, let's serve the citizens, and let's make Ottawa County where freedom reigns. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Karen Ovitz, Spring Lake. This comment is in response to commentary during the discussion that preceded the election of board chair. Please note, we voters do not predictably vote for the same way in up versus down ballot races, either in terms of our preferred partisan leanings or in terms of our criteria for leadership for those various roles. And as newly elected board chair John Teebles indicated in his comments when he spoke about his philosophy regarding leadership and public service within local government as an intrinsically nonpartisan exercise, I recommend that my fellow Ottawa residents consider whether it is necessary or prudent for elected office beyond state and federal levels to be partisan in nature. This is a question I've posed regularly to fellow residents. Would you be surprised to discover that many of us weren't aware that city-level elected officials are nonpartisan in nature, whereas our county and township offices are? Having contemplated this question now for some time, I was pleased to discover recently an article published by the Citizens Research Council of Michigan under the title, "Eliminate Partisan Election of Township and County Officers to Improve Confidence in Government." They came to this conclusion on the basis of several research and survey elements, but I'm going to offer just a few. Here's one differentiating the difference between elected office below the state level as compared to state and federal levels. Quote, "The American party system has become aligned with political perspectives with the size and role of state and federal governments in economic, social welfare, and privacy issues. Officials elected to those levels of government play roles in representing those perspectives in their budgeting and legal activities," end quote. Whereas, by contrast, quote, "In the big picture, township and county officials can do little to affect their government's roles in those economic welfare or privacy issues," end quote. And then there's this statement, quote, "Many of the services provided by counties are mandatory and cannot be provided in alternative manners because of political leanings," end quote. All that to say that I'm really hopeful that if in the foreseeable future we can't fix the problem of partisanship operating within the election of county board members, and I do hope that if we can't fix that in the foreseeable future, I do hope that these new commissioners here gathered will embrace and operate out of the reality that the role to which you have been elected functions best when you recognize the inherently nonpartisan character of your role given your mandatory responsibilities, and where you can, of course, bring your ideologies and political leanings to bear. I hope that you remember that that should always be with a view towards the very diverse population that you serve. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Justin, is there anybody online that would like to come?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I think there are 3 individuals online. So the first is Joseph McCarter. Mr. McCarter, if you would just unmute yourself, state your name and jurisdiction, you have 3 minutes.
Hi, Joseph Purnell McCarter, Georgetown Township. Congratulations to the new board and thank you for your community service. It is a difficult job and we appreciate it. I would have 2 main initial requests of this new board. First would be an amendment to County Board Rule 4.7 relating to invocations. The requested amendment both retains some of the current language, but also revises language to return the board to rotation of invocation among the board members, which federal courts have upheld, as well as to rehearse the founding U.S. history related to invocations that reflect our Christian heritage, which has left an indelible mark on our nation. I'm going to be submitting this requested amendment to the board members, as well as I posted it on Ottawa County Public Square. Second, speaking as the SaveTheCampbell.com volunteer leader, would be that this board, as soon as possible, pass a resolution requesting delay of the Campbell Electric Generating Plant, which provides reliable electric to 1 million regional residents. Our electric grid operator, MISO, has indicated the current plan of Consumers Energy and Michigan Public Service Commission to close and demolish the Campbell in 2025, as well as others, places our electric grid in grave danger. Already 3 township boards in Ottawa County have passed resolutions requesting delay, and more are expected to follow. Almost all locally elected representatives representing us in Lansing and Washington have expressed their concern and disapproval of the dangerous rapid closure of the Campbell. We need the county board to make this public statement. We need to make it very soon. Consumers Energy and MPSC have the legal authority to delay it. But if they choose not to after Ottawa County requests, then I recommend that Ottawa County seriously investigate joining Wolverine Power in litigation to delay the closure. We have a strong legal basis for delay of closure given the current circumstances and given MISO's recommendation. The reality is that MPSC regulated Consumers Energy has not treated the citizens of Ottawa County well. One, in the last decade, they spent over $1 billion in anti-polluting equipment paid for by their customers so that the plant could operate to 2040, that they plan just to throw away, but their executives and investors are highly financially rewarded for the rapid closure. We're being shafted. Their plan for rapid closure leaves our regional electric grid in danger, and it destroys a valuable Ottawa County asset that provides job, tax revenues, and many other benefits to the community. Residential customers are paying 56% more for electric than Zeeland residents with municipalized electric. There are many other reasons I would request that this board very quickly pass this resolution for delay of the closure. Thank you again for your service.
Thank you.
Second online public comment is Lori Grassman. Lori, if you would unmute yourself, state your name and jurisdiction, you have 3 minutes. Can you hear us, Lori?
You can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Lori Grassman, Robinson Township. I am very excited about 2025 and our new elected officials. Unfortunately, I don't agree with Commissioner Teeples. I would like my board to be adults and ready to get their hands dirty. There are many jobs to do and a lot already sitting on your shoulders. So no time for naps and cookies. Bird flu is already in Ottawa County. This has potential to divide residents if not handled appropriately. We've seen how that has happened before. The Campbell plant, as Joe McCarter mentioned, is scheduled to close. Big decisions will need to be made, which will also divide citizens. But 2025 is going to be amazing with so many local candidates running on fiscal responsibility and transparency. Ottawa County is in for some great times. Fiscal responsibility is about to hit Washington, D.C. like a lead balloon. Eliminating wasteful government spending by closing departments and getting rid of excess employees is the way to go. Our Republican majority can now follow our Republican president and get things done here locally too. He will create the roadmap, a fine-tuned comb for every department in Ottawa County. President Trump's plan for eliminating wasteful spending is a big reason that almost 60% of each district's Republican voters voted straight ticket. And it helped the Republicans that are sitting in those seats today. The ones who ran on fiscal responsibility sure wouldn't want to back down from one of their main campaign promises, fiscal responsibility. Happy New Year.
Thank you.
And the next public comment online is Joe Spalding. Mr. Spalding, if you would unmute yourself, state your name and jurisdiction, you have 3 minutes.
Howdy, my name is Joe Spalding and I live in Holland Township. I think that the huge issue over the last 2 years, more than anything, is at its core, too much national politics got injected into our local conversations. And I say that as someone who has worked at various times at the state and national level. And prior to committing myself to involvement in activism in Ottawa County over the last 2 years, that's kind of where my wheelhouse was. And I personally am going to be moving back to working more at the state level. And it's not that I don't appreciate you guys. I actually kind of like some of the positive, in my opinion, positive disruptions of really, really bad attempts at bad governance, especially towards the end in lame duck. So I did want to get that out there. I thought it was interesting hearing the Abraham Lincoln quote get brought up, because when Lincoln ran, that was the last time that Ottawa County voted against a Republican for statewide office. And that kind of leads me to what Sylvia Rhodey was saying earlier, because, you know, on one level, I think she is right. I think that Donald Trump is going to Ottawa impact the United States. I think that's awful, though. And I think that Ottawa County realizes that with the money furnace that they've been witnessing over the last 2 years and the pretty staunch rejection of very clearly Trumpian politics. And you can see that both by how closely Sylvia Rhodey hugged Donald Trump, and then also how some of the other folks that have called in or talked there in person associated Donald Trump with the Ottawa Impact Board. The thing is, because of Ottawa Impact, Ottawa County is now the one county in Michigan out of every county in Michigan that is to the left of where it was in 2008, which was a high watermark for the Democrats when Barack Obama ran the first time. Giant blue wave. Ottawa County is now to the left of that. 82 other counties moved to the right of where where Barack Obama landed in 2008, despite the progress of statewide candidacies. So that's something to think about. Ottawa Impact causes voters to reject Donald Trump and Trumpism. And I think that brings me to my last point, which is I think something that all of us understand. These elections should not be determined in the primaries. And the way that we fix that is by instituting real choice or ranked choice voting in Michigan. Rank My Vote is out there. They're going to be having a petition this year. We're gonna have them all over the state. It'll be a great chance for us to look at a way that we can prevent the Ottawa Impact situation from ever happening, not just in Ottawa County, but in any county in Michigan ever again. Because what happened over the last 2 years was tragic. It was a tragic waste of resources, and it was a tragic waste of time when we could have been making progress for Ottawa County. So, Justin.
Thank you. Is there anyone else anywhere?
The next public comment we have is Sean Half. Sean, if you would unmute yourself, state your name and jurisdiction, you have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Sean Half, Georgetown Township. Congratulations to John Teebles, a neighbor of mine here in Georgetown Township, on being voted chairman of the board. I found that John is a humble servant, an erudite man who I believe is full of wisdom, and he will serve Ottawa County exceptionally well, in my opinion. He will listen to everyone, even members of Ottawa Impact, and he will listen to those that disagree with him. John, it was a pleasure to get to know you last year, and I have full confidence that you will lead the county exceptionally well. Congratulations also to Mr. Brugger. He does have an exceptional sense of humor. Because of that, I'm going to say a little joke between me and him. And Josh, you can explain to some people if they don't understand exactly. It's kind of an inside thing between you and I. But now that you're vice chair and commissioner, please don't do caucus me while you're a chairman there, okay? And congratulations to everyone that races this year, or to you guys doing a good job representing the county this year. Thank you.
We have one more registered online public comment, Mr. Chair. Megan Hope Zickus, if you could unmute yourself and state your name and jurisdiction, you have 3 minutes.
Good morning, everybody. Megan Zickus, Allendale.
First thing I would like to point out is thanking all of those who ran and all of those who assisted with campaigns. That is the hallmark of democracy, when people are free to express their opinions. And I think that this was a very tenuous and heated season, but at the end of it, the thing that is most impressive is that something was missing. And what was missing was concern over election fraud and all of that heat that drove previous elections. So to that note, I would like to commend Mr. Roebuck and the team of people that he has assembled to work for the county and help with elections, the absentee, the board of canvassers, the early voting, a lot of men and women who gave up considerable amount of time to assist with a fair and free election. So, Mr. Roebuck, thank you again, and thank you again for the professionalism and the demeanor in which you head all of the meetings and do all of the work of the clerk. It is noticed and it is appreciated, and I hope that people look to you as a way to continue forward with how to handle and treat each other, especially when we disagree. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Those are all our online public comments, Mr. Chair.
Anybody else out there want to make a comment at all? Okay, let's move on. The next item on the agenda is if the commissioner is interested to make a few comments. I'd ask that we keep them brief, but Joe, want to start?
Yes, please. Yeah, thank you. I guess I just want to leave a quick, well, first, let me say congratulations to our new chair and vice chair, and for your kind words and kind words of board members. And I wanted to just leave one word of encouragement for us. It comes from Romans 12:2, and it says, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will." Very thankful for God's grace and provision over Ottawa County over the past few years, and I look forward to serving with all of you in the coming term. God bless America, and God bless Ottawa County.
Great. Check. No? Jordan, anything else you want to?
Yeah, again, congratulations to both you, John and Josh, as our new chair and vice chair, and I look forward to working alongside of each of you on this board. Kind of going off of Commissioner Moss's statement, I believe that many, if not all of us on this board profess to be believers in Jesus Christ, and we have that hope, and my hope for this board is to be shining stars, both as we work together, as we disagree, and hopefully when we walk away from this boardroom, that we treat one another with respect in and outside of the boardroom. So, again, here's to 2025.
Well, congratulations, guys. Thank you.
I think if I talk too much, my son is going to grab a cane and pull me right off the stage. But I will say, I do look forward to talking to all of my fellow commissioners sometime in the near future, sitting down, grabbing a cup of coffee. Alice and I had the opportunity to do that a couple weeks ago. I think we spoke for nearly 3 hours. It was great. And I've had similar conversations with other commissioners. Those who I've missed, I look forward to connecting with you soon. Thank you so much for your trust. And I was going to say, let's go Ducks. My son's an Oregon Ducks fan. That's all I have. Thank you.
Sure, thank you. So congratulations, both of you. I look forward to working with you. And I just want to follow up on a statement that you made, Chair Teeples. You said no longer will decisions be made based on ideologies. And I just want to push back on that a little bit, because I do believe it's our job to call balls and strikes. And it's really important to note that every decision that we make is based on an ideology. We all operate based on ideologies. And so I hope that going forward, that as a board, that we will operate with wisdom and discernment, And I just want to give a quick example of that. So, you know, there's been a lot of talk about DEI and its history here in the county. And I do believe that DEI was brought in with good intentions, because there's a lot of beautiful words used in that movement, and certainly some pure intentions with it. But it was not thought through well. It was not thought through what are the ramifications of bringing this in. What does this ideology do to children and to people and to society? And ultimately, that has brought about dangerous cowardice. And so when we look to Europe and what that kind of an ideology did, it's coming out, you know, recently that's led to 250,000 rapes of girls in the UK. And that probably sounds a little bit dramatic, but it brought on cowardice among leaders to speak out about truthful things that they were seeing, and instead of standing up for victims, they kept their mouths quiet and didn't. And so I think it's really important that we operate with discernment and wisdom when we're considering things, understanding that the decisions that we make, and you know, they are based on ideologies. Every decision is. It's based on our priorities. And certainly we have people here on this board who come from a variety of backgrounds and different perspectives, which is actually a great thing. It's, you know, it's very valuable, and we can all bring our backgrounds and our wisdom and our perspectives, you know, when we're taking a look at things. But just want to push back on that a little bit. I think it's really important that we actually do recognize that we do have ideologies, we do need to consider them, and we need to consider the ramifications of our decisions. But with that, I look forward to working with everyone here on the board, and I think we can do some great things for the people in our county. Thank you.
I'm really excited about the diversity on this board. I think that the people of Ottawa County are going to be better served because of this diversity, and we're pushing each other back on principles and policies, which is good, because that, as far as I'm concerned, the more debate, you get a better decision for everybody. So I appreciate your perspectives, and I look forward to working with you on that. I have one more comment. On the November 26th board meeting, I made comments, public comments, and expressed the position that our former long-term sheriff, Barry Rosema, was willing and able to serve as our interim county administrator. Well, he still is. So next Tuesday, on the agenda for next Tuesday's meeting, I will be moving and asking this board to appoint Barry Rosema as our next interim county administrator until the permanent administrator is hired. With that, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.